answers, and as Zach pointed out, there's a Q&A box within the Adobe Connect application for you to add any questions that you may have. We're going to wait till the end till we answer them, but you can put them in as soon as you have them, so that way you don't need to wait. All right, let's talk about the major changes that we have. So there are some changes that are being implemented and reflected in all three software SINs. So what you'll notice is in the SINs, we changed end-user license agreements to commercial supplier agreements. So you'll see the same exact paragraph in all three SINs. It even carries over into the critical information document. You can see that it says ordering activities may request awarded commercial supplier agreements to include EULAs or terms of service agreements from scheduled contractors to assist the ordering activities with reviewing the terms and conditions, including products, services, and prices which may be included. So most of this language was to clarify the grammar. But the main point was to update the language to be in sync with the final GSAR rule that was published in February of 2018. We also replaced the term computer throughout with runtime computing environment to reflect the fact that software doesn't just run on computers anymore. So I think from what I understand, the software SINs have not been updated in over 10 years. It may even be longer than that, and things have changed significantly, as you know, in that amount of time. So we're trying to reflect the current state of the industry. We've also updated the SBA's size standards for the NAICS codes. That link was just not valid anymore, so we just refreshed it so that it was correct. So let me see. Solicitation changes. So we're adding language within the term software SIN 13232 to differentiate between term software and the cloud SIN. I'm sure most of you have, there's a lot of software vendors that also provide services and products under the cloud SIN 13240. Over the past couple of years, once the cloud SIN was added to Schedule, there was sometimes confusion between the two SINs. So we added some text just to clarify between those two SINs. So you'll see in the fourth paragraph, we added this language that says term software license have a limited duration and are not owned in perpetuity. Unless offerors provide an option for converting term licenses into perpetual licenses, users lose the right to use these licenses at the end of the term period. This SIN is not IaaS, Infrastructure as a Service, Platform as a Service, PaaS, or Software as a Service, SaaS, as defined in Cloud 13240 SIN. Term software licenses are distinct also from electronic commerce and subscription services. That's in 13252. So the reason for this change, it not only helps our industry partners and agencies and state and local customers understand more clearly where a product fits on Schedule 70, it will also help us as a government understand how agencies are implementing cloud by having a clear differentiator between software and software as a service. So speaking of cloud and GSA's desire to be as clear as possible with contracts, as you know, the term as a service relates to cloud products such as SaaS, IaaS, and PaaS. Since we're making modifications to the solicitation, we thought that changing the title of SIN 13234 from software maintenance as a service to software maintenance services in order to prevent further confusion among the users of the Schedule 70 contract. Therefore, throughout the document, you'll see this global change in reference to SIN 13234. So that as a service term has a connotation for all things cloud, and we wanted to kind of remove that potential for confusion, so we just changed to software maintenance services instead of software maintenance as a service. All right, let's see. So there were also there were some other changes we made throughout the document that you'll see. A lot of them are grammatical and just made to correct the language to be a little bit more clear, fix any typographical errors, etc. So we did, you'll see those throughout the document. I'm not going to go through and call every single one of those out. Let me see. All right, I'm going to go through, I'm going to go over to the next document that I wanted to talk about. It's the critical information specific to Schedule 70. I think that's document number 14 of the solicitation. And I'll highlight some of the changes we made in this document. So for convenience and ease of reference for our industry partners and agency customers, the existing contract clauses in the solicitation document have been added to this document as well. For example, 552.212-4, contract terms and conditions, commercial items from January 2017 with a deviation in February 2007 and February 2018. That is within the solicitation, but for just ease of reference, and we included it in the critical information document as well. To keep consistent with the changes in the solicitation, the language is also changed in this document in a couple different places. So hold on one sec, I just have to grab my document here so I have it in front of me. Sorry about that. So from section 3, under guarantee and warranty, you'll see that the contractor's commercial guarantee warranty shall be included in the commercial supplier agreement to include the EULAs. So that's just to be in line with the same text that we were using in the solicitation. And under number 6, item number 6 in there, it adds in the term if available commercially for term licenses. So it's about converting from term to perpetual licenses. Then if we go to section 8, term license cessation, we added the following text to the end of the paragraph. I hope that you'll have this document in front of you. If not, I'm probably talking a little bit too fast. So we added contractors who do not commercially offer conversions of term licenses to perpetual licenses shall indicate that their term licenses are not eligible for conversion at this time. All right, we'll move on. The critical information document, section 9 is where we made the majority of the changes in the updates to our documents with this solicitation refresh. So you'll see under number 9, in item number 4, we changed the term computer to runtime computing environment. So for example, operating system, virtual machine, mobile operating system, processor to be specifically identified like I discussed a little bit earlier, and corrected some typos again. In item 6, we talked about licensee data belongs exclusively to the licensee, regardless of where the data may reside at any moment in time, including but not limited to licensor hardware, networks, or other infrastructure and facilities where the data may reside, transit through, or be stored from time to time. I'm not going to read the entire thing because I'm pretty sure that everybody on this call has the documentation in front of them or has reviewed it or can go back. So basically, it's the government owns the data and our data belongs to us. In number 7, we talk about derivative works. So the licensee may create or hire others, including the licensor, to create modifications, customizations, or other enhancements to the software which might be classified as derivative works of the software, unless otherwise negotiated and mutually agreed upon at the order level. So that's where the buyers are actually buying from your schedule contract. The intellectual IP rights, property rights to the derivative work shall be owned by the owner of the underlying intellectual property. The derivative work shall be made available to the licensee through a royalty-free perpetual worldwide no-charge license to the licensee. So this is applied sometimes when we buy commercial software, the government buys commercial software and then just needs to modify it a little bit to add something to it, to customize it a little bit for the agency's use. Okay, and then we'll go to number 8, the software asset ID or SWID tags. This is option 1 for perpetual software, SIN 13233. So option 1 is applicable when the offer agrees to include the ISO, the International Organization for Standardization and International Electrotechnic Commission 197702 standard for SWID tags. It's an embedded element in the software. As most of you are aware, and as we state in the language in this section, FTARA and the Megabyte Act were put in place to enable the government to manage their software inventories. SWID tags can assist in these mandates. This is only an option in which offers can choose to accept it or not at this point. It basically gives the government better visibility to our software assets so that we as a government and agencies or even state and locals can be better stewards of our assets, which are very important to us, right, as taxpayers and buyers. Item number 9, reallocation of perpetual software. So that's option number 2 for the perpetual license SIN to 13233. So the purpose of this option is to allow ordering activities the option to transfer software assets for a pre-negotiated charge to other ordering activities. This term is commonly included in enterprise license agreements put in place by large agencies. There are so many instances of people in the government buying new software when they get a new device, or when a new employee comes on board, they'll just order all new software packages instead of reusing the ones that already exist. So again, we're just trying to be better consumers within the government and as the government as a whole. We are not asking for this for free. We are, if you can see in item H, the administrative fee to support the transfer of license. We can allow a percentage of the original license fee, so we're not asking for it for free. Let's see. Now we're going to go next. So the solicitation refresh, it is anticipated that the solicitation is going to be updated on April 1st via mass modification, and be prepared to accept that mass mod when you see it. If there are any delays, Zach, I think that we would probably make people aware of it, but it will be somewhere April 1st or somewhere around there when the solicitation update occurs. And I went really fast, didn't I? Zach, do we have any questions?
I'm checking for the Q&A pod that we have here. I don't see any questions at this point. If you joined late or if you have any questions at this point, we have a Q&A pod that should be open for everybody at this point where you can type your questions in. Okay, I'm starting to see a few come in here. Give me a second here. I'll read these. All right.
I don't know how to see them on my screen, Zach.
I'll go ahead and just read them to you, Sharon. The first one is, if you only provide SAAS on an annual basis with payment in advance, which SIN is the appropriate SIN?
So with payment in advance, it would be on the software SIN, so 13232.
Thank you. We have another question here. Are there going to be any changes with the way we can pay for software maintenance?
So
Okay.
I probably need a little bit of clarification on that.
Okay. Tanya Lovelace, if you have more information there, go ahead and just bring some more information into the Q&A pod. We'll go on to the next one. All right, so we're getting some feedback from somebody's phone. If you can mute your phone, please. Okay. Next question. Is GSA aware that some contractors are currently offering software as a service under SIN 132-32? If so, does GSA plan to reach out to those contractors to move their offerings to 132-40?
So the proper place for SaaS, if it falls within the NIST standards, so that's the difference between the software SIN 132-32 term software versus 132-40. 132-40, the software has to fall within all of the NIST characteristics. I don't have those all in front of me, but it has to do with self-service. It has to do with billing that is, oh, come on, somebody who knows. It has metered billing, so it's, you know, per month with the exception or the maximum of 30 days in arrears. So if there are some software that shouldn't be on term software that should be on 132-40, it could be that they got there before the cloud SIN was stood up. I think that occurred in 2015 or 2016, and can be moved over to 132-40, which would be more appropriate. Does that answer your question?
How do you know?
If not, go ahead and add some comments into the chat or the Q&A. We'll go on to the next question. Is GSA going to make SINs 132-32 and 33 software maintenance as a product eligible for reinstatement fees in addition to 132-34?
So 132-34, I believe, you know, if you can send an email after the fact, or that would be fabulous, so I can reply back with a complete educated answer. So reinstatement fees, I believe, are allowable, but I'd like to do a little bit more research instead of kind of going through all of my paperwork trying to see if I can't find it while we're sitting here. That's okay.
If you don't want the GSA situation, but those participate.
Back anymore? Zach, are you still there?
Oh, sorry about that, Sharon. I muted everybody and muted myself. Tanya had a follow-up. Tanya had a follow-up question. If you remember, her first question was, are there going to be any changes with the way we pay for software maintenance? And her follow-up question was, is it considered a subscription? Not sure if that adds some additional context for you or not.
The software maintenance as a subscription. So software maintenance, I think the most common way is annually. That is based on price roughly off of the cost of the license. Like I think 23% is about, it's somewhere around 23% on average on an annual basis. So Tanya, I'm not sure what you mean by as a subscription though. So for software as a service, it would be it would either be billed, it would be billed monthly, it could be weekly, it can be whatever, as long as it's less than every 30 days for staff.
And that may be at the heart of her follow-up question here was, for example, can we pay for 3 years of service in advance?
So we cannot. I believe that it probably depends on the funding that people have, but most government agencies have annual funding, so we don't have the authority to pay for 3 years' worth of service. I think that would be violating the Anti-Deficiency Act. I can follow up on that one as well, Tanya, if you can send me an email. Brandy or Jessica, Michelle, you're the contracts folks. Do you have any information that you might be able to share?
Jessica, I just took you off of mute.
Hi, Sharon. Excuse me. I think that you had the right idea in probably an offline question situation where she emails it to you. That way we can research and make sure that we answer her properly.
Yeah. And there's the whole bona fide need requirement and those types of things, Tanya.
Okay, we'll go on to the next question then. Can vendors use de-identified data, not sure what that means, to improve their offerings,
I don't know,
even though the customer data continues to belong to the customer?
De-identified? I don't know what de-identified data is. So I might need to phone a friend on that one as well.
Okay.
That could be my inbox is going to fill up, isn't it?
Well, that question came in from Kimberly. Kimberly, if you want to add some more comments there, maybe to give some more context, we can maybe answer that. Okay. All right, here's the next question. Regarding SIN 132.33, with the admin fee to support a transfer of a perpetual license, is there a difference if the software is either concurrent or not?
Hadn't really thought about concurrent licensing and applying the transfer. So if it's concurrent licenses, that means that, say you might have 100 users, but only 50 licenses because it's concurrent licensing, as long as they're not all using it at the same time, correct? I can't see y'all, so it's kind of difficult. I'm trying to, in my head, apply transfer of licenses if it's concurrent licenses. I don't know the answer, but if you would also, or Zach, if we can capture that question, or if, I forget who you said asked it, can also send an email so that I can follow up. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be from Sonia, and we will include Sharon's email address down in the notes here before it's over. So, okay, let's go on to a couple more. Let's see here. Will cloud services associated labor be added to 132-40?
So the update that happened to the cloud update to the solicitation occurred on February 13th, and labor was added to it. So IT, cloud-related IT professional services has already been added to that same to include it in scope. Is that what your question is? I think that was how I interpreted that question.
Kelly, if you need some additional information, just go ahead and put that in the chat area. Okay. All right. I believe that's all the questions we have in the QA. Oh, wait, one more just came through. This one's from Amanda Thomas. How does this
Natalie,
language...
oh, sorry, Zach.
How does this language, licensee may create or hire others, including licensor, to create modifications, customization, or enhancements to the software, which might be classified as derivative works of the software?
Repeat that again.
There's quite a bit to this one. I'm thinking, Amanda, that's probably a good one for an email, given there's quite a reference in that question. That might be one that'd be best answered via email. Okay, I'll go up to the chat box now, Sharon. I think you were referring to. Natalie had one up there. Can you offer services only with cloud with the refresh?
You can, as long as the services directly support cloud. So it can be integration services, migration services. It can even be DevOps, I think, as long as it relates to cloud items. Does that make sense?
Go on to another one here.
I could see the chat box.
Okay. Another one from Kimberly. Can you modify to delete the right to prepare derivative works if you do not permit that commercially?
Say that again.
Can you modify to delete the right to prepare derivative works if you do not permit that commercially?
Right to prepare. I'm not sure that I'm understanding the question so much if you don't offer it commercially. Again, so I'm so sorry that I'm not answering these right off the top of my head, but if you can send that in an email as well, I promise to get you an answer.
Thanks for the question, Kimberly. Another one here. Would you also share the answers to all the email questions on the GSA site? So
you know what, I was actually just thinking that that would be helpful to everybody that's on this call rather than it just going one-off. I think that doing official Q&A would be helpful, Zach. I will work through our communications groups to figure out how we can do that.
Okay. Thank you, Sharon. There's another question in here. If payment in advance is required, could SIN 132-40 be a potential SIN at all?
The 132.40 is payment in arrears, but for cloud. 132.32 would be payment, can be payment up front.
I think we've answered most questions here. Oh, one
so
more
the
from
NAICS
Kimberly
code
here.
for 132. So the NAICS code, let me see if I can find the NAICS codes. I don't have the entire solicitation in front of me. Hold on, if you wait 1 second, Kimberly, I'll find it for you quick. And that was 132.32, right?
Yes.
It's the NAICS codes associated with 132.32 are 511210 software publishers and 541519 other computer-related services.
Okay, and then there's another question in here.
We did not change those.
Okay, sorry for interrupting you there, Sharon. I have one more question that came in. As part of the refresh, there was previous discussion on combining cyber SINs. Is that happening as well? Not sure if you know the answer to that, Sharon.
So that is not that is not my responsibility. So I am in the software category or subcategory under ITC. The hack sins are under the security category. I believe that those sins are being updated, but I don't have any of the specifics on that, unfortunately.
Okay, I think we got time here for maybe one more question.
Okay.
And Amanda Thomas has one here. Some vendors don't allow modification of their S/W. Does the language licensee may create or hire other to create modifications, complete the vendor to all the government to allow modifications? I'm not sure if you're seeing that one, Sharon. I'm having a hard time piecing that question together.
Licensing may create or hire. All right, Amanda, I'm trying to figure it out here. Some vendors don't allow modification of their software. Does the language licensee may create or hire others to create modifications, compel the vendor to allow the government to modify its software? So a lot of times it's not modifying the software itself, it's kind of doing a bolt-on. But let me get more information, and Amanda, if you can send me an email on that too. So the utilization limitations are as you are offering it in a commercial environment.
Okay, I think that is it. I'm not seeing any other questions come through. So at this point, I wanted to point out to everybody, down in the notes section is Sharon's email address. So if you were somebody here that didn't get a question answered, go ahead and feel free to email Sharon. I'm going to go ahead and keep the meeting open here for a couple more minutes so you can take a look at the links and the email address there in the notes. Sharon, do you want to close this off at all?
No, thank you everybody for your time. I hope that this was helpful. And for all of the outstanding issues, I'm taking an action item, or we're all the GSA team here is taking an action item to see if we can't get a general Q&A published as well.
Okay, thank you everyone. I'm going to go ahead and shut down the meeting.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thanks, Zach.